Well, it's a Thursday night and it's time for a member spotlight, but we're going to do something a little different tonight. We are going to spotlight women in triathlon and specifically women who are iron distance veterans. And this is going to be a lot of fun to talk with these three women in triathlon. And I'll do a quick introduction and then this will be fun to tap into your expertise and your experiences. So we've got Colleen Takahashi, who did Ironman Texas. Hi, Colleen. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And you did the rim to rim most recently. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah, and hopefully you're
23 weeks pregnant. So
yes, congratulations. That's awesome.
awesome.
And we've got Sandy Larson, who did Ironman California just 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
Yeah, we got to do the math there. That's right. I think that's about right. 2 weeks, right?
You lose track of time.
Wow, that's fantastic. Well, congratulations on that, and thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here.
Great. And we've got someone I know well, Laura Mercer, who also did Ironman Kona or the World Championships in Kona. Hi, Laura. How are you?
Hi, Hubs.
Well, this is going to be fun. Each of you have had some really neat experiences, and it's going to be fun talking about each of your experiences. But then we're also going to talk a little bit about women in triathlon and how we can support women in triathlon now who are already doing triathlon, and how we can actually encourage greater participation in triathlon from women. So this can be fun. So I think what we're going to do, our format is we're going to talk about each of your experiences and then come back and talk about the women in triathlon part. So Sandy, you are the most recent finisher in Ironman California, which you were signed up the year before, but then you hit the bomb cyclone, or the bomb cyclone hit you, and the race
Yeah.
was canceled, and so that put you off. But tell us about your experience at Ironman California this year.
Oh my gosh. So, it, to put it in short, it reminds me of Daniela Reef. Do you remember when she crossed the finish line and she was like 5, right? Well, this is me, 1 at 62 years old. Amazing in all just all of it to me. The swim, I really had a great PR. It was when I come out of the swim, I looked at my daughter and I said, "What was the time?" She knew I was going to ask that because they're at all my races, my 70.3s. And she's like, 103, Mom. I'm like, yeah, let's go. Right. And got on the bike and it was great for a little while. I had a tailwind. And then all of a sudden, it probably about 20, 30-mile-per-hour winds, majority of that bike ride. And just, death grip on the TT bars to make sure, a lot of crashes. Just trying to reset of what I was going to do, to make sure that I did get all my nutrients and hydration and stuff in. It did, though, kind of limit me from getting things that I needed, like chapstick for my lips. So they were pretty bad off after that. And then I just, fantastic support. My family was out there again. My grandkids are out there. So pulled over and put some, more nutrition in. And it seemed to go by fast. And I was back to transition. And then out on the run. I think the run had so many amazing moments for me because it's first of all, you have to know Sacramento. It has a high population of homeless, so you're seeing like broken down RVs and tents and some things going on that kind of make you go, "Whoa, am I going to run through there?" And sure enough, we were in a wooded area, and I was. I started out and you have to remember I was 2.5 hours behind of what they anticipated TriDot for my time. And I could just see the sun starting to set and I didn't have my headlamp. So it was in my personal needs bag. So that was rough because I saw a guy go, went down flat on his face. As soon as it got dark, it was pitch black. You could not and I had white shoes on and I could not see my feet. So I decided, you know what, I'm not taking any chances. I have Indian Wells coming up December 3rd. So I decided, I'm just gonna be safe. And I knew I had time. And so as I was going, I even had a moment where I kind of welled up and started to cry because it was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be an Ironman. So that part was pretty amazing. But my goal was set on getting to my family at mile 14. So really cool story about that. I told Jerry, I said, listen, I'm going to go ride my bike, shake out my legs, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to go for a run. So I was riding around where the hotel was and I saw a trail. I said, oh, okay, I'm going to get on the trail. Well, that just happened to be the run trail. That and when I got up there, I saw the tape and it said mile 14. And I was like, oh yeah, they could probably just hang out right here. It'd be easy with the kids. So I came back and I told Jerry, and then I went for a run, but I knew that they were at mile 14 and it just really gave me an incentive. So I'm running and it's pitch black and they're yelling, grandma, just random athletes. And they're like, grandma. And I ran right up to my daughter and she's like, grandma. It was so funny, but they were all laughing because they had other, people there that were cheering on their family members that were participating in the Ironman. But that was really fun. And then I don't even know what else to say about it. I'm still on cloud 9. It's just such an amazing feeling to put in, so much work and have so much support from amazing women in the triathlon community. I just got to express my love to all of them. I mean, they were by my side, those 6.5 hour bike rides were brutal, and then you had to do a brick run afterwards. So I'm just so grateful. All of you helped me get there. I know it takes yourself, but I can't wait to just be there and follow you, through your journey as well. But yeah, a lot more to talk about, but the best part was the In-N-Out burger afterwards.
Oh yeah.
I was so hungry. Yeah, and that chocolate shake. That was the best part. So yeah.
Oh, I love it. How about the point that you hit the carpet for the finish line?
So that's kind of funny because Hillary Mulch told me to step back and take in every moment. And my family was right there at the very beginning. And so I stopped and gave them hugs. And I knew I was waiting because there were several people still coming in when I came in. I thought I came in kind of late. But I waited and then I took off and I wanted to high five people. I don't know if you've ever gone through this whole mind game, but I wanted to high five, but I didn't know if because the whole COVID thing, you're like, oh no, maybe not. Maybe I should. I don't know what was going through my head at that time. But this girl ran past me and right in front of me. I don't know if you saw it on the video, but I was like, oh, well, that didn't work. All I could do was laugh because I felt like a walking zombie. And if you look at the picture, you see me, I'm not like hands up. Yeah. And I had this all played out, you guys. I'm serious. I had the whole thing played out, but I walked over that finish line. And then my head went down. I don't even know what to say about the finish line.
I love it. Well, you'll just have to do it again. So
That's right.
I love it. That's a great synopsis of your day. So thank you. I love that. And I know we're going to come back and talk more about that experience and even how you prepared for it. But let's shift over to Colleen, who also was signed up for Ironman California the year before and also was delayed due to the bomb cyclone. But you decided to switch and do Ironman Texas. So walk us through, and that was your first Iron Distance event as well. And so walk us through what Ironman Texas experience was like.
Yeah. Actually, so I was also signed up for Arizona. I think Sandy was too. We were both signed up for Arizona, and then it was canceled. And then we went to California, and then it was canceled. And then she went to California, and I went to Texas. But mainly because I didn't want to train for a whole nother season. I was like, I mean, I'm gonna do whatever's like closest. I wanted to do Arizona that year, but they wouldn't let us like it got filled up too quick. Everyone wanted to go to Arizona. But yeah, I think like the best word to summarize Texas, at least for me, was like it was a party the whole time. They call it the party on the Hardy because you ride on the Hardy toll road, and it really was. So like the swim was in a lake, and you kind of did an out and like half back, and then you went down a canal. And when I was in the canal, Rick like came and Sherpa'd for us too. So he found us. He like was like kind of ingenious and like figured out like he was finding like other people's cap numbers and was like finding them in the tracker to see where they were compared to us. So yeah, he found us, and my parents found us too, and they like walked with us while we were swimming in the canal. And I used to play water polo, so like I'm used to kind of swimming head up. So it was kind of nice. I was like talking to them, and then like yeah. So yeah, like that was so fun. Like having so many people like right next to you cheering you on. And then the party on the Hardy. It's kind of funny because I don't know, it's kind of good and bad. So I think they call it the party on the Hardy for like two reasons, because you usually get like a headwind, tailwind. So I think they're trying to like make it funny, like, oh, okay, it's fun, even though it's like a little bit terrible. So it was like 15 miles to the Hardy Toll Road, and then it was 20 miles in a headwind, and then 20 miles in tailwind, and then you did it again. But it was also a party because there were lots of Pelotons, which was actually kind of fun to watch, right? Or like to kind of get like sucked into a Peloton and then spit back out, because they move so fast. Like you're like in one, and then all of a sudden like you're like, okay, bye, like so that was like the tailwind was fun. The headwind was rough. At like, well, my lights turn off. But yeah, so yeah, his headwind was rough, tailwind was great. Nutrition was difficult because the headwind was so tough, but it was fine. I mean, we're used to training in wind here. Of course, I was like a little bit grumpy in the headwind, but I mean,
me too.
Like, yeah, I know we've all done like very windy races. And then the run was like amazing. I feel like most iron courses, I mean, I could be wrong, right? Laura and John, definitely correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like there's usually kind of like a backside or like a dark side where you're just like alone by yourself with your headlamp, like thinking about your poor decisions. You're like, why did I sign up for this again? But the Texas did not have a dark side at all. There was like always people cheering you on. There were like whole like parties, like they were like drinking and there were lights and music, and you would like run through them. And yeah, it was really fun. Texas was, like I said, the whole thing I felt like was a party. I enjoy, like, I don't really like to suffer, so that was like my goal, was to have fun the whole time, and I kind of did. I know most people are like, I suffered like a little bit in the headwind, but besides that, I had a lot of fun. So highly recommend Texas.
I love it. I mean, we've talked about the theme for the club this year as being enjoy the journey, but it certainly sounds like you enjoyed the race as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I always try to. I mean, most people who race with me, like, no, I like try to make friends. Like, I'm usually happy if I like make some friends on the bike in the run. And yeah, that's kind of, I just call it like a running buffet or like a rolling buffet. So yeah.
How is the water quality for both you, Sandy, and you, Colleen, in your swim? How was the water quality? Was it good?
Yes.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. It was incredibly good. I was thinking, wow, this is like buying good bottled water.
Well, that's good.
Compared to what I've swam in. Come
Yeah.
on, Lake Mead is, oh boy. Yeah,
Okay.
huge difference. And then, of course, the other ones you guys could also agree on, like even Arizona, that channel is a little creepy. It's not
good to
real.
know.
Yeah, it was good.
I would say Texas was like middle of the road. Like, it wasn't the worst water I've ever swam in, and wasn't the best. I did put a bottle of Listerine in my T1 bag because people were saying, like, just so you don't like stomach issues, like get everything out of your mouth. So I Listerine and I loved it. So
Oh wow.
yeah.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, this would be fun. I mean, what's neat, we got all this different experiences. We can share notes on the courses, but that sounds really neat to be able to have people walk along and watch you swim. That's certainly quite unique.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of unique, Laura, let's talk about Kona. Tell us about your
Wow.
experience.
It was an amazing experience. I feel very grateful to have done that race and to be part of it. It's certainly everything they say it is. It's a big deal. Uh, People from all over the world are there to race the World Championship. And I have to admit, even though that was going to be my 15th Ironman, I've done a lot of Ironmans, I was intimidated. I was like, whoa, these people are fit. Woo, these people are fit. And so it was really so exciting to be there. Just the whole town is just Ironman, right? Just for that week. So taking it all in was really awesome. And I have to admit, I was really anxious, very nervous about the race. And but the environment was spectacular. I mean, the ocean is crystal clear. You can see the bottom the whole time, fish, coral. Oh, it was stunning. So the swim was wonderful. I do remember one thing, and I had listened to a podcast by Matt Dixon before we left for Hawaii. And I'm going to try not to get emotional about it, but he said, when you have to remember to really enjoy it and take it in, right? And I know we all get caught up in that start of the swim and you're just like, okay, but once that gun goes off, we're good, right? We know what to do because that's all we know really is swim, bike, run, right? That's what we do. So once the gun goes off, you know what to do. But it's those moments before. And he said, turn around and look at the shoreline and look at all of the people there, that are there to see you. Look at all the racers beside you. It's a deep water start. So we're all treading water in the ocean, waiting for our time to swim. And I remember I did that. I turned around and I saw the big giant blown up Gatorade bottle, which is just classic Kona, there at the beach, and just a wall of people. And then I turned around and boom, gun goes off, and then we know what to do. And so the swim was beautiful. I've always been terrified of swimming in the ocean. The practice swim the week before this race was the first time I've ever swam more than 1.2 miles in an ocean. It went smoothly. Whew, big relief. So on race day, I was okay. Plus, I was with a whole bunch of other people and I just didn't have to be a scraggler out in the ocean, and I knew I was going to be okay. So, I just wasn't scared at all. And it was a beautiful experience. And so got on the bike and, that classic lava field bike in the heat. And I remember I was only 10 minutes into the bike and I'm like, wow, it is so hot. It was just,
Oh my God.
I felt so hot. Of course, we're swimming in the ocean that's quite warm. And so you already get behind in nutrition in Kona. And that's something I wasn't quite aware of. But looking back, I realized you really need to get on your nutrition right away. So anyways, the heat, I'm like, might be a long day. Okay, this might be a long day and I need to stay positive. So I just stuck with the plan. And I knew I had bank time in the swim, and I really needed to finish this race and get it done. I've been waiting 3 years. Really, I've been waiting 11 years for this race. And so I had a plan and I stuck to it, and it went pretty smoothly. John admitted he was a little worried there, waiting for me to come in on the bike, but I came in, got in. And I knew I had a hot run ahead of me, and that was okay. I had a plan for that too. Kona was my victory lap of many years of doing Ironmans. And so I wanted to take it all in, and I did. And I tell you, it's just such a great race. And, it's dark and a bit lonely out there on the Queen K, when the sun goes down. Amazingly hot still though, all that humidity. But I met a few great people out there. And one thing that was neat is I was out on the Queen K, and this guy comes by on a scooter and he's cheering us on and telling us to hang in there and get to that finish line. And it was the CEO of Ironman. And he was out on the scooter trying to encourage all of us, back of the packers or whatever who was out there. And I was really impressed by that. And so anyways, got into town, and I had envisioned this finish line for so long. And I had it all planned out. But Sandy, I get it, because it all falls apart. You start seeing it and you hear the crowds, and everything you envisioned and planned just gone. And all of a sudden, I just remember looking for my family. I'm just looking, and I saw, my sons, and I was so happy to see the kids. And then I just was so happy. I honestly thought I would bawl like a baby. Okay. I thought I would just cry, just accumulation of so much work and wonderful times over the years. This was it, this was it for me. And I didn't cry. I was so happy, and I just was overjoyed. And so the finish line is spectacular. It really is. So I actually, it was a hard race for me. It was, but it was a great race. It really was. It was amazing. So.
Oh, I
So
love
how would you compare the Kona heat to the Vegas heat?
That humidity is like nothing we have here.
Mhm.
Even though I was biking in 100 degrees, and I went in the Kona a little cocky, like, I got this. Yeah, bike in 100 degrees. This isn't, an issue. That humidity is pretty hot. So it's just gives an edge that you're not really used to here. I mean, I remember looking down, riding my bike on the Queen K, and I can feel the sun burning me. And I ended up with second degree burns on my arms and my hands. And I could feel myself burning in that sun. And I looked down on my legs and I'm sweating, but it's not evaporating. Like I had sweat running down my legs on the bike while I'm biking. It's not evaporating.
Yeah.
And here we have that evaporation, that cooling mechanism. It's quite a difference.
That's good to know, because I saw some of your training. I remember one day I saw you do, I don't know, I think it was like a 90 miler, and I was like, she did 90 miles today. I was just like hot living life, and I was like, so I can't. That's good to know. It is worse, oddly.
It is. And honestly, I don't think Kona is a difficult course. It's the elements, it's the wind and the heat. Now we were lucky. I still had a headwind coming in from Javi to Kona. I mean, it was a headwind. I had to work every downhill. There was no coasting coming back for, about 56 miles. It was work the whole way, but it wasn't like what Sandy had, which it could have been. And then that would have been even harder. We lucked out by just having normal winds as opposed to extreme winds like what Sandy had.
Yeah, I was grateful for the wind, and it was cool. The weather was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was perfect for that. I mean, you can always make a positive out of it.
That's
because
right.
of that wind, it was nice and cool. So
Yeah.
I wasn't sweating like you were. Oof.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. Each of your race days was in a different environment in essence. So that's sort of neat. And there's no easy in these events, and it's a really big lift to prepare for them. And each of you probably prepared, a bit for your event and where it was going to be. But you each had something very unique happen in that your original race that you were going to do was canceled, delayed, deferred. And yeah, you're right. I totally forgot you were registered for Arizona first, and then that trickled down. And Laura, you actually qualified back in 2020, and it wasn't until 2022 that it finally come around and you were able to do it. Talk a little bit about, and just the three of you sort of share ideas in terms of how you dealt with that, and how you balanced training for these iron distance events, because they're no joke, and you got to put the time in to get ready for it. So how'd you do that, and how'd you overcome that delay? Because it's exciting to get ready for a race and then it's pulled away and then you have to do it again, and that's not easy.
I am one to stay really consistent with training. And so I mean, and I work like 10 to 12 hours a day on top of, um, doing my training. I tried the early morning training and it didn't work for me because I have to be at work at 6 a.m. and getting up at 2 and 3, that was lack of sleep. And, at my age, sleep is extremely important for, you know, my training outcome. So I think you get into a consistent type, um, just like when you go to work every day, so we come home, oh, I have an hour bike ride. And then my granddaughter is on a swim team. So I joined her to kind of be able to have some time with her. So I went to Desert Breeze, I switched that all up, and then, 2 days a week I'd go swim with her. But for me, and then keeping meals prepped on Sundays, making sure that I stayed, on task with what I was eating. Otherwise, that would go out the window if I didn't do that. So, and then just the women in our community, that some are new triathletes, some are aiming for their first half Ironman, just being a part of them, with just so much encouragement, and just watching them, I love being a legacy for not only my grandkids, but for the women in our community. And I'm seeing more and more women, getting on board. So I really think my family is super supportive. They're always at my races. So I really, even the Las Vegas Tri Women page has been, something to look forward to, and to do as much as I can to post those that have finished races. And no matter what it is, I stalk Facebook a lot. I probably try to be careful because I never know if I'll upset somebody, but I try to be very kind in how I post it. But for me, it's I just get into a routine, and I just come home, and I don't, first the dog, my poor dog, first the dog, got to take care of her. And then I go straight upstairs and into my, my workout room, and that's where I work out. I have a treadmill, and I have, my trainer and everything up here. So that's how I do it. How about you, Colleen?
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of like that. So like Matt and I've been racing triathlons for a really long time. Well, in my opinion, I think I might have been racing triathlons now for more than half my life, because I started when I was 14. I'm 30 now. So, so it's like, yeah. And then Matt and I, since we've been together, I think we've been together 7 years. It's just what we do. Like, we train every day except our rest day. It's just it's like eating, right? I mean, it's dinner time. Oh, it's training time. So and I wanted iron so bad. I know there's some things where it's if it doesn't happen, oh, it's fine. I won't do it. Right. If rim to rim, if there was a really terrible thunderstorm, I'd be oh, it's fine. I'll do it next year, the next year, whatever. Right. But I wanted iron so bad. I was no, I'm going to do it the next chance I get. I just kept going. I know I wanted it. So yeah. I just kept signing up. And that's kind of when I realized is oh shoot, I must want this really bad, because I'm not letting all these cancellations get to me at all. I'm just okay, when's my next one? So yeah. How about you, Laura?
Yeah, it was, I have to admit, I struggled more mentally. So the first cancellation was, well, maybe it's gonna happen in the spring, but no, that's not going to work. So maybe it'll happen again October. no, that got canceled. So now they're gonna maybe think about, are they gonna do something early again in the spring, because they're trying to make up, right? For the World Championship. Nope, they realized that wasn't gonna happen. So it was just kind of like this up, down, up, down. And I did the training over 2 summers, and I was just, by the time I hit this year, I was struggling a bit. I have, some other issues going on too, that we'll get into later when we talk about women in tri. And it was just it was hard for me. I physically, I wish it was in 2020, because I was physically much stronger then than I am now. And I think I was doing good up until probably this past year. And, again, this is my 15th Ironman. I've done a lot of them. And I was kind of like, oh, but this one is the big one. I mean, I've got to stay focused, and I did. And luckily I had a great coach who was very patient with me. and he really helped me. Without him, I'm not sure. I wouldn't have given up, but I wouldn't have been, I would have been in a lot worse shape. So I had a little bit different situation than you two.
Yeah. Your 15th is very different than your first,
Right. I did though have kind of, just to add to that, I call it a bad deck of cards, because Arizona was supposed to be my first, and we know what COVID did to Arizona. In fact, Arizona for me, really, Colleen is 2000, it's next year, 23. So Arizona's been deferred that many times.
Oh,
yes.
wow.
And so then, of course, Sacramento had the cyclone, and then,
What are the chances?
yeah. And then here comes St. George, and I, woman that thinks she's strong enough to take on St. George. Oh boy, that was an eye opener. I was like, oh boy. But they did. I mean, there was like 4 times that the marshals tried to take me off the course, and I just wouldn't give in.
Good for you.
Stubborn, 62-year-old stubborn lady. I was like, no, I want to keep going. I still have time, but and then they were like, well, you're close. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, St. George had few things like that going on where they were pulling people off the course.
Mhm.
I learned a lot from it. Let's just put it that way. It took me a minute to get my lip off the ground, though, I'll be honest. I was pretty upset about that.
Mhm. Well, you
Well,
persevered and you came around for Sacramento, so that's good.
Yes. Took me a while.
Yeah,
So even when you say 6 years, what do we have? Almost 3 years? Would it be 3 years of COVID and all the stuff that happened with it?
yeah.
Yeah.
well, you each have mentioned the ups and downs of races. I mean, on one hand, it's exciting, and hit that finish line, and hit the start line is exciting. Hit that finish line is exciting. But there's times where things just don't go well.
Mhm.
But maybe we switch gears a little bit, but with that same theme, when we were at Kona, we went to the banquet, and I always encourage people to do all the banquets you can, because it is fun to get part of the environment there. But they announced the different demographics of the race, and they said 25% of the Kona participants were female. And Laura and I looked at each other and said, that sounded really low. But then when we looked at the data a little bit more, it's always right around 20% for any Ironman race, especially in North America. It's a little lower in some other regions.
Mhm.
But 20 to 25% of women in iron distance events, and it's probably not that much different for other distances, that seems so low. And I know there's several initiatives out there to increase women participation in triathlon, but maybe speak to that theme a little bit in terms of how do we support those who are in the sport to keep going, and how do we bring in and encourage new people to take on triathlon? Who wants to start on that?
I can start on it. So I definitely feel that too, the 25%. So when I race Calgary, I usually like go back and look. So when we did Calgary 70.3, I felt like kind of in a guy's world up there too. And yeah, there were only 100 women finishers. So I was like kind of accurate in that I was like, oh, there's not that many other women. Same with Texas. I think like 1 out of 4, so like 25% were women. I only look at the finishers. I guess I don't look at how many people start, but yeah, I definitely like feel that, like, because usually I try to like talk to women. I don't know, fun to talk to. And sometimes guys don't really want to talk to you, which is fine. And my thing is to make friends while I'm racing.
Me too.
So yeah, like I try to find other women to talk to. And sometimes it's a little bit hard. So I definitely feel that. And I think what's kind of interesting about me is the way I got into triathlon was through my aunt. She's an Ironman too. She did Arizona. And she was doing like half irons before I got in, and she had me, my mom, and her do a relay together. And then after that, I was hooked. I was like, I'm gonna do them on my own. And then just it got weird. Then I was like, and then I'm gonna do an iron, and the whole enchilada, and here we are. So I think it's really helpful for women to bring other women in, and that's what I always tell other women is like, I'm such a big fan. Like anything you need, I'll help you out, especially if you're my size. I mean, I have lots of clothes. I don't even want, I'll share. And so I think that could be one way. I know you had mentioned like maybe how the club could like, maybe if we had like a mentor buddy system or something where like more experienced women get partnered with like less experienced women, and then they can ask like sometimes the like awkward questions like, which chamois cream is your favorite, or whatever, like, or which chamois cream do you hate, or just
What
women
worked?
questions.
Yeah,
So
I think along those lines is exactly what we need to do. I think I got started because my neighbor agreed she'd do it with me. And I didn't, I wouldn't have never done it by myself. And I know I have my husband and he was always in a triathlon, but that's different. We don't train together. We race together, but we don't train together. And I was brand new to it. And so I met some great women along the way, and it really became what we did together. And it allowed us to connect. And if we had anxiety about something, we could talk through it. And then, these races came along, Iron Girl. And I started doing those, and I was like, whoa, it's a big production, like, wow. And it was all women. And I was still nervous about racing. And I did my first Olympic at an Iron Girl. And it was nice to see a bunch of women. We all, many of us had kids or there was every age and size, and everyone was very welcoming, and there was competition too. I mean, there's some serious racing at these. And I think a big part of that is sometimes, women just don't connect with the right people to continue and grow in the sport. And so, if you have kids, it would be great if you could find another mom with kids so that you guys can kind of figure out, oh, okay, well, here's where we both have a window. We could go for a bike together, or we can go for a run together or something. And I think that was really key for keeping me in the sport, was making those connections, and having those all women events were very helpful, because it is intimidating racing with guys. And, the times I've got hurt in races at the swim, we're dealing with guys. And
Yeah.
so, and that really can be quite terrifying for a woman that's not used to that. Luckily I had older brothers and I was used to abuse, but, not everyone is. And so maybe, I don't know, but, I think the group issue is huge. And that's what's great about the Las Vegas Tri Club is we have a lot of women on there, and they ask questions and they can get engaged with other people in the club. And also the Las Vegas Women for Tri, they can also engage there. So
yeah. How did you feel? I have to ask you, there's so many questions I want to ask you about Kona. So that's history, what just happened with you. So how did it feel to, have your own race day? just all women? I mean, I know there was some guys, but mostly
There
women.
were. I was actually I was so in the middle of the men because I was the second last age group of women to go, and there were all the dudes behind me.
Oh, wow.
And so I was quite in, like, it was dangerous for me on the bike because the guys would go by me so closely and so quickly and then cut over and almost hit my front wheel. And so I didn't get that day
Oh,
where
man.
it was just women. I dealt with a lot of like, it was terrifying at one point in the city biking because the guys were going so fast and they're yelling at each other, and they're three of them are trying to pass at once, and I'm on the right going, please don't cross over and hit me, like. So
Yeah.
I didn't get that, unfortunately, but next year they will get that.
Okay. Okay. So it wasn't me that started the Las Vegas. I was a part of it, but it was also Addie and Jill and Christina. It was a group of us women. Um, and it just kind of built into that. And then Hillary jumped on board and she does all our videos, and we're hoping to even enhance that some more. And Christina, of course, helps out. And anybody else that wants to help, you are welcome to help. But I think through the Las Vegas Tri Women and being able to talk about some of the personal things, and I think Laura could relate to this too, is, some of these subjects are silenced with women. And I think that we need to be able to talk about it. In my physique, I was a cheerleader, a dancer. I've never gained weight. And until I turned probably in my late 50s, I started having more challenges with belly fat and that kind of thing. But so I love that we can, collaborate as women and discuss some of these issues like the chamois cream. And I had to laugh because I was on a bike ride, Colleen, and one of our girls says, Sandy, I need some help with this. And we could not really get into it, deep discussion because it was personal, but, it's times like that, I love sharing those moments and my own experience and what I could do to help. And so what has happened with this is in fact, I was nominated for the Women's Summit, and there's 4 women now that they'll pick. And I'm, for one, thank you for even considering me. That's such a high recognition. But I really want to do I want to do more. And I want to do, like you said, Colleen, I want to start the mentoring program. And let me tell you why. Oh man, I have to be one of the weakest cyclists. You can ask anybody. So I am always getting dropped. And something kind of just hit me that, why are women quitting? Is it because they don't feel like they fit in? I felt that way at times. But I have a lot of grit in me, so I never wanted to give up. But so I started putting on the page that will stay with you. We are going to support you. We are going to ride with you. We are going to run with you. And now we have like Sarah Weimer, who I am so excited to talk about her. She's aiming for her first 70.3, and Sarah cannot hear. And she is an amazing swimmer. Oh my gosh, the girl is fast. So, her, and then of course, we have blind runners. Terry, I'll be supporting her for ultra. I mean, it's things like this that I think are so important, that we not only collaborate with the Las Vegas Tri Club, but to bring all the women together to feel like they do fit in, and that I'm not going to drop you on the bike. I'm going to stay with you, because for me, I'm going to be so fast. Okay, my goal is to finish Ironmans, finish. And for me to go a little slower on the bike is not going to make a big difference, but it will in a woman's life that wants to pursue triathlons.
Mhm.
And that's where I'm at. So I'm wanting to start a nonprofit. I haven't decided yet. I'm working with with women that, and that's Sarah True. I don't know if you know, but she's the one who started the Feisty and the Iron Women and podcast. So that's who that is. But I think she had one world championship. One is enough. I mean, that's good, but she's pretty amazing. But anyway, so I'm trying to think of what I could do, all of us to come together to even get women more interested. And I could go on and on because I have so much passion for this. But
And
I
I think you hit it on the head there, getting women together. I think we need to get women together, and let's match women up with similar challenges, right? So Colleen, you're going to be a mom soon,
yeah,
and you're going to have a baby. There, I bet there's another lady out there who is in the same boat, right? So boy, you two would have a ton to talk about on that bike ride. Okay.
yeah.
I'm saying, but it would be great if we could get women together that share some similar things. You know, I'm right now going through menopause. I'm in the middle of it. It has been at times crippling to me, and at other times I'm okay. But it was a very difficult time for me. You know, it would be great to be with other women who have also struggled like I have the past couple years, and let's talk about it where normally we can't talk about it. I can't post about stuff like that on Las Vegas Triathlon, but I can talk about it with a group of women.
Yes.
And so I think I love that idea, you know, and again, it goes back to the whole Iron Girl thing, getting women together and letting them know, hey, we all started just like you. Okay, we all started, none of us are Olympic athletes that just became triathletes. Not, I mean, really, we're not. You know, we all have some backgrounds. Our strengths have in our backgrounds, we have some maybe strength. I really didn't, but you know, there's a starting point, right? And
Right.
I think some women are intimidated. They don't have these groups. They don't have anyone to talk to about this stuff. I think that would be a great opportunity to get women involved in our community. You know, if we can at least start here, and how we do that, well, maybe that's, you know, for another discussion, but I think that would be key, almost like a little mini Las Vegas summit.
Yes. I'd like that. I think we should do something like that,
Yeah.
you know? So I think Hillary had mentioned that to do like a women's summit. That would be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Love
You
that.
know, and just get women over to just talk and ask questions, and we can have discussions, and I don't know.
Yeah, I've also wanted to I did start collecting some items and I've been packaging them because it's an expensive sport.
It
And,
is.
I want to be able to give back. And I mean, my closet, like Colleen, I think she already said this, she brought this up. My closet's full. I mean, I've offered
Right.
to so many women here, come get a tri suit, pick it out, take a couple.
Well, we have that exchange coming up this
Yeah,
month
I love
for the
that.
Tri Club, and that's a great opportunity for new triathletes. There's a lot
Yeah,
of
and
women that
maybe
have a lot of outfits.
without him, like putting them, like privately do it too. Like, hey, I have some extra stuff. Would you mind if I give you something? And then,
Mm,
because I always worry about people's, maybe their pride too, how they
sure,
feel about that.
sure.
But yeah, I'm all in rather. Whatever you guys want to do, I'm all in on this one.
Well,
So
I'm just sitting here just loving hearing this talk because you're being so honest and it's great for people to hear this. But I'm curious, in terms of, you know, I know from the research end that we don't have enough females as subjects. And so a lot of times the information that we hear about how to train, how to prepare for an event, how to hydrate, it's based upon men's subjects, and that doesn't work. I know that's changing. We have some good researchers out there who are really leading that way. But I'm curious as to where each of you find the information that's going to help you out. I know you talk collectively, getting it from each other, but where else? What sources of information do you now go to get information on how to prepare?
I
Well,
go to Dr. Stacy Sims.
that's where that's where I've gone in the past is Stacy Sims. I think she's probably really a leader in this, especially women's research with endurance sports.
Yeah.
And she also covers pregnancy to menopause. So she covers all aspects of a woman's life cycle and how to be an endurance athlete with our physiology, and which is different because we're not small men, right?
That's right.
Mm.
What she says.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I love this, and I think we can. Oh, where'd my camera go? I think maybe we can talk with some maybe or invite her as a keynote speaker.
Yes.
She's been very open, and she has been a leader in this area. So I thank you to each of you. This is so great to hear your stories. And like I said, just to hear the honest approach to what you've gone through to get to the start line, and how you balance life and training, and these ideas for helping women stay in the sport, as well as to encourage new athletes to enter in the sport. So this has really been enjoyable.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I just love the support, John and Laura, and Colleen too. There's so much we have to give, and I'm here to support in any way I can.
Yeah, and that's a great way to end it. Is you each have great experience, and you're each leaders in the community, but you're also participants in the community, and other people take the lead at time, and that's such a great way to build the endurance community. So maybe we can close with what are your endurance plans for next year?
Mm.
I can kind of start, even though I'd be like the weirdest one to start because baby's supposed to be born in February. So I'm being like really realistic or trying to be. Maybe like Laura will roll her eyes at this, but I'm thinking you're like, you are not racing a month after. I'm not racing a month after. I have my eyes on, because I did Arizona 70.3 back in 2015. It was my first half iron, and it took me 7.5 hours. I think I can do much better than that now. Even like post baby. So that's kind of what I'm hoping. That's like pretty much the only like race that I'm like really looking at right now. And besides that, I'm just gonna kind of go with the flow, see how fast I can recover from having a baby. So
Yeah.
Yay, we're so excited. I have 11 grandchildren, so.
Oh my goodness.
So if I have baby questions, I will be texting you, Sandy.
Grandma of the year.
And no pressure that Chelsea, she won post pregnancy, right? So she won. So no pressure.
Yeah, and Jocelyn McCauley went sub 5 hours. I think it was like 11 weeks after giving birth. I don't remember if it was to her first baby or second, but yeah. No, they say there's mom power, and I always tell Matt too, like Ben Canoe, and people say there's dad, and who is it? Tio, Miranda's husband. Oh, Tim O'Donnell. He says there's dad power. So hopefully after this, we get mom and dad power. So yeah.
That's cute.
There you go.
Great. Sandy, what do you got planned for next year?
I'm definitely going to step up to powerlifting, because hoping to get that bottom weight off of me. We've been working on that now, so that's key. Also, I am signed up for Oregon again, because I'm going back to see what I could do with that one. Yeah, I'm going to have a little bit more of a speed on my mind. And then, which they call PR, right? I have Ironman Arizona as well. So those are my two for now. I always tend to fit another one in, like Indian Wells. So I do have Indian Wells December 3rd, but after that, I think I want to focus on, I'd like to get a degree in nutrition, and I'd like to start with it somewhere, in my very busy life. So tuition is NV Energy pays well for tuition. So I really think I should try to take advantage of it.
That's great. And Laura, I know you're still, I know you're still trying to figure out next year, but what are your immediate thoughts on next year?
I got nothing. Okay, I got nothing for the
Nothing.
first time in like, I don't know, 15 years. However, I think I'll try sprint. A sprint, like I know how to go long for hours and hours, but I haven't redlined it in a long time. So I think I'll try that.
There you go. I
so
love it. I
fun.
love it. Well, thanks to each of you for doing this. This has been a lot of fun, and I've enjoyed hearing your stories. And again, thank you for your honesty as you've gone along here.
Thanks
You.
for having us.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. It's great talking with you ladies.
Oh, it's great talking to you.
Talking to
I
you.
want to hear more.